Hello and welcome back to Did. So I've been wanting to do this video for a while where I go through these single issue comic books that I picked out and read. I usually just go to the comic book store to look for artist styles and to see how I would go about producing my own comic book. Later you'll see me assembling my little graphic novel wall, which will hopefully help me organize my thoughts and my brains and my sketches, yeah, into a cohesive story. So one I thought I wouldn't like just because the guy on the front is very muscular and looking very violent. I normally wouldn't pick it up, but the fact that the woman is glowing, I imagine that there was some kind of magic within it. So after I picked it up, I found that I actually really like this book. The art style, if you know who I'm talking about, Mobius, it's kind of like a Mobius style, like, you know, very colorful and simple, very easy to follow. The variety in art is amazing. It's very sci-fi, surreal. I would definitely read a few of these issues. So what I got from Tokyo Ghost was mainly that it is a cyberpunk kind of setting, you know, end of humanity, lots of technical advancements and technologies taking over the world. There's kind of a sad romance in it, and there's kind of like a utopia, apocalyptic contrast there. And it's very new world and lush, you know, landscapes like that. So that was my first impressions of Tokyo Ghost. So the next comic book I have for you is ZojaQan. I think that's how you say that. I have no idea. But this book right here, like flipping through the whole entire book and just glancing, the colors and the style, and it's kind of like a surrealist alien world. The story is a little confusing. I guess it's this mother, she loses her child in this dream space, and you don't really quite know what's going on, but it is very appealing to the eye, and yeah, I would definitely give this a look if you like to look at beautiful art. All right, and I know this is kind of like a classic comic book, but I saw that they had a show, and the show was decent. I kind of wish they did a little bit better or had a second season to kind of you know, add a little bit more. But this Swamp Thing book is holographic, and of course I'm gonna buy it because why not? And we even got Conan on the back with the holographic paper. So this one I found, you know, it was kind of surreal, pretty dark, and it was actually kind of Art Nouveau, like flowy frames and well designed. You know, it's kind of a love story, and there's a lot of illusions. I would recommend reading this. It's a lot of interesting characters and drawing techniques, so don't skip on this one. Okay, and for another holographic front page that I couldn't resist buying is this Eclipso. I've never really heard of this guy, but he is in the DC universe. So basically what I get from this is that he is possessed by this crystal. It talks to him, you know, it's his dark side. The thing I love about this book, and the reason why I picked it up too, is because the art inside, the splash pages are very complex and the borders are very interesting. So I wanted to keep this book so that I can learn from those choices. And also within this book, there's a little, you know, cameo of Deadpool in here too, so you never know what you might find throughout the series, but I'd probably buy the next one if I saw it. Woo, woo, woo. All right. So next up, we got Black Science. I would probably read a whole entire series of this book likely, but I only have a few small issues. But basically what I get from this book is that it's the drawing style is very surreal, the setting is very otherworldly, kind of alien-like, and the artist technique in this is very painterly and organic, which I love. A little forewarning, there is some slight frog nudity, so you know, there's something. And the last thing I would say is that the electric color palette within this book is very eye-catching, and I love it. So read this one too. All right, so next up we have Stellar. You know, obviously it's a sci-fi, so I'm gonna pick it up and flip through. It kind of reminds me of Atlantis or like Kryptonian lands. And the drawing style is just very, again, very organic. Like it looks like it's drawn. And I like the creatures and the landscapes. And it's got some jokes here and there. But yeah, the drawing style is very unique, so I would definitely check this one out too. So the next one that we have is MIndBender, and this one is pretty special because I got this book in like a pawn shop type of thing, and I'm pretty sure it is signed by Jim something, and I imagine it's James Pruitt. So this is signed by either the writer or the artist or the publisher, but I think that's pretty sweet. So what I got from this book was that, you know, this guy, he has a bit of a temper and it's a little eerie, but the drawing of the facial expressions in this are very interesting and contrasty. It's beautifully done, the color scheme is amazing, and it's very kind of like spacey and stellar, and just the artist's rendition of how they do everything in this book is beautiful. It doesn't look anything like the cover, so yeah, don't trust a book by its cover, as they say. Okay, so next up we have Rapture. This looks pretty much like you think it would. It's got some religious undertones, it's very dark. There was a quote in this book and I wrote it down. It says, "Imagine you are in a dark room, how do you get out? Stop imagining." But yeah, there's some religious undertones, which might be correct or incorrect depending on who you are. And there's a wide variety of landscapes and characters. And I also like these comic books. This one includes a little short story by another artist at the end, I believe. Yeah, so I like reading those little short stories. All right, next up we have Elric. So I picked this up because it's a very organic drawing style and very Art Nouveau, very well designed. And it, you know, the cover is basically the book inside. It's very Art Nouveau, it's drawn really well. There's a little bit of nudity and sexual scenes, but to each their own. And, you know, classic fairy tales, dragons, castles, that type of thing. But if you're really into the art, Elric is a good one. All right, so next up we have The White Trees, the BlackSand Tale. I like the characters on the front. I figured I'd like the drawing style a lot. It's a little, you know, it's a little revealing, and it follows out throughout the book for sure. It's got some gay content and some very sexual scenes, so be warned. But yeah, the color palette is beautiful, the scenery and the drawing is beautiful. And another thing that I really like, not even including the style of art, but the way that the writers used, how they typed out, the way that they talked really gave this, I like how the writers wrote in their speech bubbles, the way that they would spell certain things, you would hear a sense of tone, whether that person is a little bit more Western or a little bit more, you know, groggy, that type of thing. The characters' voices in this they're very real. But yeah, be warned, this one is very risque. All right, and for the last one, we have Artifact One. I picked this up because of the very surreal characters, but on the inside it's just the same. The colors are very vivid and bright, and the landscapes are just gorgeous and detailed, and the story kind of has a real life application to the world we live in now, which is, you know, we're trying not to reform to how people are controlling us to be, and that we shouldn't have control over the earth, which I really like when stories do that. Like, there's actually some real life advice that you can take away from these. But yeah, if you want to read a beautiful book, this one is it. The drawing style has a great sense of motion, and you know, there's little hidden gems here and there, so definitely give this one a shot. Alright everyone, well that is it. I will be doing another comic book review in the future. I kind of went haywire on my last trip to the comic book store, so I'm going to be reviewing about another 5 or 6 books, and I'll let you know what I think. But yeah, if you guys want to suggest a book to me that you think I might like, I would love that. And please go check out my Instagram page, go check out my YouTube. I'm going to be doing a lot of random things from here till then, so yeah, stay tuned if you're into comic books, painting, making random things, blah 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 blah. Anyway, back. Something just fell outside. If you wish, enjoy watching me assemble my comic book wall. This is my inspiration wall, if anyone is curious. This is pages that I printed out of actually some children's books, maybe some postcards that I bought from back home. And yeah, just the color schemes and the drawing style keeps me inspired whenever I am using the bathroom. So yeah. I figured I'd make my own wall of my own art and kind of inspire myself with my own work, and hopefully it will help me organize my thoughts into one cohesive story so that eventually I can have my own comic book, which would be amazing. So stay tuned. I will have another review for you in the future. Bye. I should probably go wipe this off.